Hi, welcome back to another episode of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. Tonight I'm going to talk about the 32-4 pickup bed and the tailgates. On the last episode I did on the 32 pickup bed, I had sprayed epoxy primer on it. Since then I've done skim coats on the outside and on the inside, and I've basically sanded, trying to get all the little imperfections in the bead rolling. All of the body fill is sanded with 80 and 120 grit right now. So because I have a lot of bare spots where I hit the metal, I'm going to put another coat of epoxy primer on this. Some guys will put just another coat of primer sealer on top of it, but I want to seal it up really good. I want to put another coat of epoxy primer on it. Then I'm going to put a couple coats of high build primer and then sand the rest of the imperfections out. That'll be ready for paint. But before I do that, I wanted to decide what I was going to do on how to latch the tailgate. The tailgate had been put on before, and I never really figured out how I was going to latch it. Some guys that build these, they'll actually weld the tailgate on, and that's fine, that's cool. Other ones will put the stock hook chains and everything on it. Another thing that's done is people will use like little tiny barrel bolts like this. They're really small. And these little barrel bolts would actually mount like right there on the inside of the tailgate. And then as this closes, not sure which way, sorry. As this closes, it would go into a register or a hole on the inside of the box. This was obviously too small. Kind of like the idea, but not. I bought these, which was another barrel bolt style thing. Same concept. It could have mounted here and then pushed into a register and locked in place. I've seen it done before. Again, not a bad thing, just not my taste. What I wanted to come up with was something that was more traditional, but didn't have the big chains hanging off of it. So I went and got myself a piece of 1/4 inch flat bar, and then I drilled a hole into it, and I tried to make like a bracket that was originally on the tailgate. So cut that out, played around with it quite a bit. So essentially that's either going to be welded on the top here or welded on the bottom. I haven't quite decided yet. So I made one for each side of the tailgate, and then over the past couple hours I was trying to come up with how to mount it. So I made these two brackets here. Same thing, I just took a piece of the 1/4 inch plate, drilled a hole into it, cut it out. I don't have a laser cutter, I don't have a bandsaw out here. I just basically used the mini grinder that I cut my finger up with there the other weekend, shaped it and ground the edges, and then just welded a little piece of 1/8 flat plate on the back of it. So I'll show you where I am so far. This is kind of what I'm thinking. I think that we're going to weld it on the place on the underside of the tailgate, and then I'll drill 2 holes here, and then I'll weld it in place to make it look like rivets. The little bolt is just here to hold it in place. I'm not sure if we're going to leave it there. I think we're probably going to just have a hook or something on it, so that way unhook it, pull the tailgate down, and then I'll be able to fill the gas up, or just leave the hook in place. So that's where I am so far. I'll carry on with this and I'll show you more towards the end, okay? Hi, it's a couple days later. We were sidetracked a little bit and went to work on the milkman's upholstery on the 32 3-window coupe. Back on the pickup bed now, I have the brackets welded on. So like I said, what I did is I drilled 2 holes through the bracket and then just basically welded them to the stake pockets here. So kind of like giving it more or less like a, I guess a spot weld kind of look. Then underneath these pieces here, what I did, I drilled a 3/4 inch hole, or a 3/8 inch hole that is, here and here, and like clamped it in place, and then I welded and filled the holes in so it actually became part of the tailgate here. Now the tailgate, I also cleaned and buffed it and got it ready for paint. And what I used, I just basically used these little kind of Scotch-Brite type pads here and some 120 fine grit to just clean off the any surface rust that's on the back of the tailgate. The other thing I still haven't decided on is actually how to hold it in place. Like I said, I didn't want to use chains here. I didn't want to use the barrel bolts in the back, but I still wanted to be able to drop the tailgate if I had to. So right now I've got these bolts in place. I went to the hardware store and picked up like a little, I don't know what you call it, but like a ring of some kind, like a snap ring or something. They don't work very well. What I've been messing around with right now, I thought about using like a little pin like this, sticking it through the hole, and then I could have something like that. Still haven't figured it out entirely. Anyways, if any of you have any ideas, put a comment in the bottom of the video. I'd like to know what everybody thinks. Maybe you've come across the same situation. I just quite haven't solved it just yet. But nevertheless, I have a way to latch the tailgate on. And it looks kind of more like a traditional one. So I'm just going to use the bolts for now. We're going to proceed to wipe this all down and make sure I got every little tiny spot kind of cleaned up, and then get ready to spray some epoxy primer on it. Then we're going to put some high build onto it so it'll be painted. Going to do the tailgate and going to do the box, so follow along. Hi there. We actually just finished spraying the pickup bed here. We did a video of me spraying it and big explanation, which I'll go through right now, but our mic wasn't working, so have to do the video, unfortunately, after the fact. What I'm going to talk about is spraying it with the epoxy primer. One thing I use now are these 3M disposable liners, which I find really neat and really cool. Used to go and mix it up in a cup like this and then have to pour it into like a gun like this. Then you'd have, you know, more things to clean up and throw out. But what the 3M things do now is like you have this outside liner with all the different great, you know, mixes and stuff onto it, whether it's 411, 311, 211, or you can do it in ounces or mils. So this you keep, and what you do is you take this, and these liners come with it. And some of you guys have seen this before, some of you haven't, so it's for the guys that haven't seen it. The liner goes in, then you'd mix your, in my case here, the epoxy primer I used, which was 311. So it was 3 parts epoxy primer, 1 part hardener activator, and 1 part reducer. Once you put that in there and mix it up, there's a cover that goes onto it that's got its own filter built into it. So you should be able to see that there. So instead of using these little things that go down inside the gun, you throw those out and you use this. So you mix it up, put it in like that, and then on your gun itself, you're going to have this little adapter that you can buy off Amazon or probably in some of the paint shops. So essentially that goes on the gun like that. You flip it over and you're ready to go. You've probably seen some of the professional painters do it. You can buy these kits off Amazon, the replacement stuff. I just find it's just, once I started using this, it was fantastic. So what I did, that's what's left of the paint. Over here we just put 1 coat of epoxy primer all over the bed. The bed already had 2 coats of epoxy primer before I did the body work to it and straighten it out. I just wanted to seal it one more time, cover any of the bare metal. Next step now, it's almost dry. I am going to come back here and, sorry, camera lady. The gun I shot it with, the epoxy primer, is a knockoff of a DeVilbiss. It's a 1.4 gun, 1.4 nozzle. It's great for shooting the epoxy primer. It's nice and thin. The high build primer or liquid body fill, whatever it is really difficult. I find it really difficult to spray. So I use a more traditional and disposable gun with a 1.8. You can go to, I think, a 2.2 or something, or over a 2. It would spray a little better. Anybody out there has tips and tricks on how to spray this stuff, give me some comments, give me some direction, because I really struggle with this stuff. It's really thick, it sets up super fast, and basically after you put your coat of high build on it, you got to come back, clean your gun, and then put another coat on. And sometimes I haven't been fast enough and actually lost the gun. So what I've been doing is I just buy the cheap 1.8 guns and put my high build primer on. So that's what I'm going to do now. Should be done in the next hour or so, and that's it. Hopefully everybody have a great weekend. See you on the next video. Thank you.